Hi there. Welcome to a bit of my day. Um, Happy afternoon. You'll probably be seeing this either afternoon or early evening, which is unusual for me, but I I got busy today. I was putting together my new cart. I'm still trying to decide what I want in it and where. So for the time being, this is what I've got. I use these things all the time, and I use these things a lot of the time. And I always need a place to put papers that I thought I was going to put into a make it into a folio and put it in a signature, and then I always take too many and I need to put them aside and put them back in my tower. And so I need somewhere to put them. Oh, look at the shadow. Anyhow, so I was so proud of myself for putting this together. Like, look at me doing the IKEA thing, although it's not an IKEA one. I got it off Amazon. So anyhow, I thought I'd share um, my cool little cart. Yes, there's my vintage McDonald's coffee mug. That's how you used to get your coffee at McDonald's. Um, at least up here in Canada, we didn't have drive-throughs. You had to go into the store and into the restaurant and get your coffee, and either stay there and drink it if you were staying there to have your breakfast, or else have coffee with your meal. They brought it to your table in that. Or else, if you were taking your bag to go, then yeah, you got it in a little paper cup. But that's actually how big a coffee was. Isn't that amazing? I love this though. Good morning, Canada. Isn't that awesome? I'd use it for my coffee in the morning because I don't like a big mug. I'd rather keep refilling it so it stays hot. Um, but I'm worried that the dishwasher will wear that off, and I just love it so much, and it makes me happy up here on my desk. So I think I've shown you that before, but let's all admire it again. Yeah. Anyhow, let's go over and say hi to Kirby. Say hi, Kirby. Yeah, hi. Say hi, everyone. I'm gonna have a nap now. All right, we're going to head over very slowly. Don't ignore the mess, and we'll get some work done on Peter Rabbit. So there we go. Whew, boy, that was bright. We're going to do some work on Peter Rabbit. So I'll see you in a little blur of a second. Okay, so Peter Rabbit's text block is glued into place. It's done. So here's I had a few people asking about, sewing the signatures. There's 7 signatures in through this, because this is a soft spine. This lovely curved spine is not one of my spines that I make with a rolling pin. I just simply used very light. It's not even as heavy as this was from a file folder. It's not paper, but what I used was quite light, in between paper and cardstock. So a heavy paper, light cardstock, you choose. And just put one layer in between the 2 pieces of fabric to create this soft. I really wanted it just floppy and soft, and so that I could just have fun, because I knew that the lace would be bulky and I didn't want a really hard spine for Peter, but I knew I wanted a big one. I wanted him to be like a little mini tome almost, and I'm really pleased with how that turned out. I did a little bit more work up here on camouflaging this stain that was really dominating over where it said the tale of. And I'll tell you what I did. I think I explained in a previous video. I can't remember because there was one video I ended up deleting, because afterwards when I went to check it, I always pre-watch them before I post them. And I had done the whole video with my book down here. What a waste. Anyhow, so I, of course, tried to clean it a bit. Then I did a bit of very gentle inking with the with my acorn colored archival ink, because it has a slightly greenish tinge to it. I had to write that on there because I have several brown archival ink shades, and I always think, which is the one that's slightly greenish? And now I always know which one's slightly greenish. So I very gently went over it. I scraped at it a bit with my old vintage knife that I just love. It's the perfect amount of dullness and sharpness. And I love this knife, and I'll be sad someday when it breaks, because these ones usually always do. These two-piece vintage knives and forks that so many of us grew up with. Anyhow, scraped a bit of it, inked again a bit of it. The stain had taken a toll on the lettering, and I really, really wanted the lettering to be a little bit brighter. So you know what I did? You probably already know. But I got out and I tested both. I have a Bic whiteout, and I have a just a white Uniball pen. And I tested them both to see which one I liked better. I liked the Uniball better, and I just very gently went over a little bit of the letters. The top of the A needed a little help. Let's come down a bit. Top of the A needed a little bit of help. The little flourish on the T, same with on this T, needed a little help. The O needed a little bit of help there, and of all things, the Y on the by Beatrix Potter needed a little bit of help. And then I roughed that up again because I didn't want it to look, whoa, why is that part bright white and the rest is not? I wanted it to all look as if I hadn't done anything. And I'm really, really happy with how that turned out. So now I think this is the right amount of grungy. I love these corners. I wouldn't cover them up for all the tea in China, as my mother would say. And believe me, she loved tea. So those, I think, are beautiful. If they were mushy and flippy floppy, yeah, I'd probably put corners on them. Let's go back again. But they don't need corners. And then inside, again, I put in the text block, and I must admit, here, let me hold this up so you can see, because I did do some stitching around here. I recall someone commented how they liked the stitching that I did on the oval. I didn't do that stitching. That's actually little marks, little holes created by the Sizzix cutter die. It's called a die, which throws me off. The silver oval thing that you put down on the picture and run it through your Sizzix. It did that. I didn't. That's not me. I'm not that steady. But I must admit, I freehand cut this part, so woohoo for that. anyhow, very happy with how this is turning out. It's elegantly partially naked, mostly naked, sort of, in a way. What was it? What did we say? Seductively. Someone came up with a good term for it. Anyhow, I closed you before you were finished. I thought because it took place in a garden, I've put leaves in two different places. And I love doing that. I think I'm going to do it with squirrel nutkin, because of course squirrels are always living in leafy places because they're up in trees. All the little ovals, rather than going to too much trouble, they are all tuck spots, which lends these books to be able to be journaled on for that part of the page, and then journaled on for whatever the person, if it gets rehomed, whatever that new owner would like to do with those tuck spots, or if they'd like to gently lift them and actually use them somewhere else. That's the beauty of a, oh, you did this side too. Let go. That's when you're impatient and you close your book up too soon before it's finished drying. Ran some ribbon through the holes in that paper because that was out of a book that had binding, coil binding. I'm just really happy. I don't want to do too much through here. Haven't put a charm on there yet. Again, the oval made it into a tuck spot. And Squirrel Nutkin, very imaginatively of me, Squirrel Nutkin will be almost the squirrely version exactly of this. I've made the papers the same number of signatures, the same number of folios per signature, the same similar lace spine, same size. There will be same laces here, but slightly different little details there. So I was serious when I said we've got work to do today. I want to put just a simple tie onto these. This is old. Isn't that old? I imagine the original owner maybe got it at Woolworths or Kresge's. How many of you remember Woolworths or Kresge's? How many of you had lunch or a snack at the luncheonette? Oh, I always hoped when my mom would take me to Woolworths or Kresge's at Shoppers World, and that was the closest mall to us at the time, on the Danforth. And I just loved when, because it wasn't every single time, and she'd say, let's stop for a little snack at the luncheonette. And there was one in every Woolworths and Kresge's, and you could either sit at the bar along the long, with the little stools, or else on the other side would be bench seating, and then it wasn't very big, but I loved it. First of all, because it was one of the only times I would get to have French fries, and just French fries. I didn't have to have a meal with them. I could just have French fries. And it had those fountains. There was always orange and grape, that it would twirl the drink through the fountain, and then your drink came in a paper cone that was in a metal cone-shaped holder with a little handle on it. Oh, I loved it. Anyhow, and Mom would usually have a cup of tea and steal a few of my fries, and then we'd finish our shopping and head home. So we're going to, I'm just going to put I'm finished reminiscing. Although comment down below if you're as old as me and you remember Woolworths and Kresge's, and sometimes some of the Zellers also had a luncheonette. And and you could have a little bite to eat and get a little sandwich, or if they had a daily special like meatloaf or something. All right, so I want to do just single because this is just fluff overload. And all the lace here, all the lace here, all the stuff that's going to be coming out the top when I take those blue ties out. I think that's more than enough for Peter and for Squirrel Nutkin. So I'm just going to do a single layer of ribbon. Let me get a rock. So I hope you're doing well. I am doing well. Let's see, 5.5 pencil. So 5.5 to 2 3/4. Let's go there to there, 5.25. Yeah, it's still around there. If I would just use my handy dandy Tim Holtz 0 center ruler, I wouldn't have to worry about such things. Oh well, especially now that I got my little rolly cart. As if I needed more stuff in this room. You know, you finally, all my life, when my children were growing up, my drafting table was literally in our living room. Because I did not have an art room. We had children in rooms. If there's a spare room, there was usually more than one child in the room. I didn't mind having it in the living room though, because they knew where I was and I could keep an eye on them, and they were older by then too. What am I saying? They were good kids, but I did have a little one. We had a little surprise who sort of came after we had 4 in 4 years, and then we had a little break, and then there was sort of a little, I don't like to refer to him as an accident. He was more of a surprise, and he was a lot of fun for all of us. We affectionately refer to him as the best pet we ever had. Anyhow, having it in the living room meant that they could, Mom, can I have a snack? Mom, can I go out? Mom? And I was right there, so it worked out. But now that I have a room, and I had the smaller room for a while, and it got filled. So then we switched, because we have 2 bedrooms that face over our backyard now. And I said to Dan, I think I need the big room. And he said, let's do it, because the man's an angel. I am married to an angel. I don't know if I've told you that this week, but I am married to an angel. Let's see if that's about, yeah, close enough. As my mom would say, that's as close as darn is to swearing. So we moved me over into the bigger room. It's a nice size room. Well, it's full. It's just because you have more room, it's not necessarily a good thing, because you just fill it with more stuff. Anyhow, there we go. So there's my Woolworths ribbon. Maybe I'll pull that a little bit so it's there. Pull that one up. And then we'll figure out which there we go. Now, I don't want to glue the there. Then we have to figure out which papers are going to be the end papers, because the end papers were ruined. Peter Rabbit, I think, had 2 pages left to him. 3. I had the opening page with the title. I had the page where one of the owners in 1929 signed it, or perhaps it was the gift giver that signed it. I was going to use that as an end paper, but it still wasn't in as nice a condition as I would have liked. So I put it in. So it's actually inside the book here, and you can see where Judith Spragg, 1929, signed it. And that also has the little person, Rob, Vicky, Rolf, Vicky, Robbie. Oh, I wonder who, if one of those was the owners. And then somebody got scribbled out. Wow, Robbie, Vicky, Rolf. Anyhow, so I put it in the book, and then, of all things, so on the very end, this page survived for this book. I have a few more pages for Squirrel Nutkin. A few more pages survived. So the front had, this was a front page. And I've got to figure out, so I don't need that right now. I've got to figure out how much to trim. I think this is from one of the newer books. I just tea dyed it. And I think these newer ones were slightly bigger than the original old ones. So I think I'm going to trim a little bit off the top and the bottom, a smidge, and a smidge off this side, and give that a fresh edge, and that will bring this in a bit, and it'll give us a little more of an edge. Okay. We'll at least get one side done together. So I'm going to take a smidge. That's an official measurement term, but you guys already know that. I'm going to take a smidge off that side and a smidge off that side. Let's see how that fits, and if I need to, I'll take a smidge off this side. No, that's perfect. I love that. And these blues and the Flopsy bunnies, the blue of her dress and the blue of Benjamin Bunny and Mrs. Tiggy Winkle's book all go nicely with this blue, and same with the blue swirlies. go nicely with this blue that I chose. So that, yeah, that's going to be good. Okay, I'm happy with that. Let's put that in and we will call it a visit, because as I always warn, I don't necessarily do tutorials. I just invite you to join me in a bit of my day, whatever it is I happen to be doing. I want to bring this in a bit. I may trim it. I may go in and trim that a bit. That's the beauty of these scissors. If you have a chance, get yourself some of these scissors with the spring. I originally purchased a pair of these years ago. I find them easier on my arthritic hands because the spring, I don't have to reopen the scissors. The spring will open them. I only have to worry about pushing them closed. But it ended up that they're just so marvelous for getting into tiny little spots because they're so, that's just such a fine little, those pointy little ends. Wow, are they sharp. And then the Fiskars Scissors God was smiling down upon me twice because Nancy found them on clearance at I think a store was closing where she lived. And she said, "Do you want some?" "I got some." And I said, "Yeah." And so she got me another pair or maybe two. And then I found them at my Dollarama only one time. And I bought the whole row of them. I think there were 3 pairs. So I have more ready in case sometimes they break. Sometimes they just stop doing, I think, with the spring action, and they still are plastic, but knock on wood, these ones have lasted a good long time. So, oh, look at the mess. Hold on. Okay, so I've cleaned this up, and we're just going to, I do swirlies in the center, and then I go around the edge. Not too close because it will squirt out. And then very quickly, because it wants to start drying quickly, I'll do my best to smooth this. Sometimes you have to back them onto, see what I mean? It wants to start drying, but you still have time. This will still stick very nicely. There we go. Sometimes for me, I don't like putting paper down as the end paper, especially if I have put down like a ribbon, or if there's a brad that I've poked right through the cover, or there's sewing through the cover, I will back that onto cardstock. But in this case, this ribbon is so fine, it won't, this won't need to be backed onto cardstock, even though it's paper. Just wanted to push that up just a little bit. That looks nice. Let's take a look at what we did. Oh, that looks nice. I'll be doing a Dutch door for Squirrel Nutkin, and hopefully I'll bring you along and show you. Although I've got videos, if you're interested, look through my video history. Look for a title that says "Let's Make a Dutch Door." Because I have shown it's not that hard, and it's a very effective opening presentation. These are my favorite clips for holding down for glue. If you're in Canada, Dollarama, they're on the wall where all the kitchen things are. These are chip clips, but they're round. Can you see in there? They're round. So they don't make dents, and you don't have to worry about putting cloth to protect the cover, because sometimes clips like this, you have to put cloth in, or else a clip like this will leave a dent in an old cover. But these chip clips, don't have to worry about it. They don't leave any dents, and this part that is covering, see, I've already jumped around, I didn't even finish that thought. This part that is covering the lace, oh jeepers, come on brain, find the word. The interior fabric and the book text block fabric is a little thick, so I just want to make sure that's well adhered. The rest I'm comfortable is well adhered. So there we go. Thanks for visiting me today. That was a long one. Thanks for taking a look at how happy I am that I put together my new trolley. And I might look up, I may go over and see Corey Dahman and see how I know with one of her trolleys that she uses, she flipped the top tray over. I thought about doing that with this one, but this one has dents on the bottom of the tray purposefully. They're sort of like ridges, and I wasn't sure I liked that. So anyhow, I'm already taking up time. I thought about using, I'm going to keep going, what the heck. I thought about putting this into Peter Rabbit, because it had a rabbit and a little boy, but I felt uncomfortable. I didn't like the way that little boy, because I thought maybe it's Farmer McGregor when he was a little boy, and that's like Peter's grandfather or something. I feel like the rooster, the guinea pig, and the rabbit are fearing for their life, thinking, all right, who's going to be dinner tonight, with the look in his eyes. And it wasn't making me happy. And Peter Rabbit has a happy ending. So this will go into some other book, because it is very pretty, but I don't like the way that little boy is looking at those animals. He's got a look of intention rather than a look of, oh, there's my happy pets. I'm not even a vegetarian. All right, I'm way off topic. Have a great rest of your day. And hopefully we'll get together in a day or two and we'll get started on Squirrel Nutkin. Take care, and we'll talk soon. Bye.